Hi everybody, Joe here from Shutter Speed Photography. Very nice to see your smiling face again here on YouTube. Thanks for leaving your webcam on, I appreciate that. Hey, so Viltrox has sent me out their 24mm f1.8 Z mount lens to play around with for a couple of weeks, and I have done that. And I want to talk to you a little bit about this lens. I think you're going to find it very impressive, especially when we talk about the price point. But before we get started, I'd just like to say thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And of course, as always, if anything in this video helps you out, please help me out by hitting like, subscribe, and of course, ring the bell so you get notified of future updates to this channel. It's something nice you can do for me that doesn't cost you anything. So I appreciate that in advance. So, all right, let's get down to it. Let's talk a little bit about the specs of the Viltrox lens as compared to the Nikon Z 24mm f1.8 S series lens. Okay, so they're both fully autofocus lenses. Okay, the Nikon wins out a little bit in terms of optics with 12 lens elements separated into 10 groups, whereas the Viltrox is 11 lens elements in 9 groups. Both cameras have 9 aperture diaphragm blades, so same there. Okay, same viewing angle, 84 degrees. Maximum aperture of both is f1.8 and the minimum aperture on both is f16. Okay, a little bit different in the filter size with the Viltrox using a 55mm filter, which is a little bit smaller than the 72mm of the Nikkor lens. Okay, in terms of weight, Viltrox is the winner here at 370 grams, as opposed to the Nikkor, which is 450 grams. Okay, minimum focusing distance on the Viltrox is 0.3 meters, with the Nikon beating that slightly at 0.25 meters. So they're very, very similar. Again, the Nikon does win out on a couple of specs, a little bit closer focusing distance. Again, you have one extra lens element in that Nikon lens, and of course it is an S series lens. But aside from that, they're extremely, extremely similar. So that being said though, there is one major difference, and that is price. Okay, so let's talk about price. The Nikkor Z mount 24mm f1.8 S series lens is currently, and this is July, so currently it's $999.95. Now, I say currently because Nikon is stating that there's going to be a price increase in August. So, come August 1st, it's likely that this lens is going to be more expensive. The Viltrox comes in at a very reasonably priced $379 currently. Okay, so that's a tremendous difference in price point, and honestly, spec-wise, not a major difference. Now, look, we know that Nikkor glass, especially for the Z mount, is exceptional. You know, probably best in class across the board. But we are talking a significant, over $600, you know, price point difference, and that gap is going to grow come August 1st. One thing that the Viltrox lens has that the Nikkor doesn't also is this aperture ring. And the aperture ring you can use to manually rotate, okay? And you would basically use that for film. So if you were filming and you wanted to change the aperture while you're filming, you can just simply rotate that button and get a nice smooth transition in your depth of field. So that's a nice feature that the Viltrox offers that the Nikkor lens does not. But aside from that, very, very similar lenses. And one of the things that you're going to notice is quality-wise, out of the Viltrox, I think you're going to be happily surprised. Now, I will say this. Viltrox has been working very hard with Adobe on their lens profiles. So when you take images, raw images, out of the camera, shot on this Viltrox lens into Lightroom, there are already profiles in Adobe Lightroom or Camera Raw for these Viltrox lenses. And like I said, they've worked very hard on these, and the profiles are outstanding. So honestly, when you bring these into Lightroom at f1.8 or f5.6, it's almost impossible to tell the difference. Now, a little bit of a spoiler alert, when you take the profile off, you're going to see a little vignetting with the Viltrox lens up till around f2.2. By around f2.8, it's almost gone. F3.2, almost, invisible at that point. But once you apply the lens profile, f11 and f1.8 in terms of vignetting look the same. Distortion correction is spot on. So they've done a great job with these lens profiles. Not to say Nikon doesn't, of course they do. Those profiles are of course built-in profiles. But I'm going to show you in Lightroom. We'll toggle some of them on and off, and you can just see how well these profiles actually do work. So that being said, let's take a look at some sample pictures in Lightroom. All right, so we are here in Adobe Lightroom, and we're going to go through some pictures taken with that Viltrox 24mm f1.8 Z mount lens. So just wanted to show you some sample images. This is obviously some very small figurines in a set, right? But one-to-one zoom, you can see the nice amount of detail there. And also get to see that really super shallow depth of field at f1.8, which is really nice. Shallow in the front and shallow in the back, and nice and sharp right here in the middle, which is exactly what we would want. So that works beautifully. Really nice bokeh out of this lens. Okay, so in terms of straight lines, again, with the profile on, straight lines are absolutely amazing. And I'm going to show you with the profile off on some of these images where we can compare a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to shut the profile off on this, and you can see right away, this is shot at f1.8, the difference with the profile on and off. Okay, so we do have a little bit of bowing at the edges, and of course the very obvious vignetting, but the lens profile cleans it up beautifully. So I'm going to shut the profile off on all of these. Next one's at 2.2. Let's shut that profile off. And then 2.8. And again, profile off. And now we're here up at f4, profile off. Okay, so let's just take a look, and in terms of how well does this lens do? No profile applied now. So we're at 1.8, and again, this is not bad. It's reasonable. Of course, we do have darker edges, but profile, of course, we know corrects that. But at 2.2, a little bit better, and then 2.8, much better, and then at 4, basically gone. And honestly, I really think that it's pretty much after 2.8, 2.2, 2.8. We really see pretty much almost complete removal of any vignetting in the lens. So that's pretty much what a sweet spot is, and it's pretty low, which is nice. So let's take a look again at how it's handling some lines. Again, let's shut the profile off. And again, we see the same thing here. We're at 1.8. And let's take a look at f4. Shut that profile off. And in terms of vignetting, not much difference, but we can see a little bit of bowing that's corrected there. And you see how you turn that off, and the lines, especially this edge right here, becomes perfectly straight. So again, the profile really that Viltrox has created for Lightroom is spot on. You don't have to download it or anything like that. This comes with Lightroom. As long as you have the latest version, it's built into Lightroom for this lens. Okay, and again, here we are at f8, and let's take a look at f8. And again, in terms of vignetting, really almost nothing. A little bit of difference in just correcting some of the bowing at the edges, getting those lines super straight, which the profile does beautifully. So nice job there, really nice job. And again, it's just in terms of course, the Nikon Z color reproduction is stunning. And this lens, even at f1.8, of course, does not disappoint in any way, shape, or form. You can see it just produces a absolutely beautiful image. And again, profile on and off, just to get a little bit of a handle of what that looks like. And here we are at 2.2, so let's shut the profile off at 2.2. And we're looking pretty good even at 2.2, I think. This is 2.5. Again, even again, the bowing, all right, yeah, we're always going to correct the bowing for that wide 24 millimeter lens. But in terms of the vignetting and darkening at the corners, even at right here at 2.5, it looks pretty good. So the correction, as you can see, is there's definitely a correction, but it's not significant at f2.5. Here we are at 2.8. Let's shut that profile off again. And then at 3.2. So let's just take a look at the difference between 2.8, profile off, and 3.2. Basically no difference there that I'm seeing. You know, if there is a difference there, it's incredibly minor. So I would say that by 2.8, that vignetting is basically pretty much controlled. So we can, of course, step it down and put the profile on here. Let me shut the profile off. Let's step it down from 2.8, 2.5, 2.2, and then 2.0. I got to shut the profile off. All right, so as you can see, like I said, it's very well controlled, and it's a pleasure to shoot. It focuses nice, and in terms of getting straight lines, you know, again, this is with the profile on right now, and I mean, look at the perfect straight lines that we're getting. We're shooting here at f16, and you really can't ask for nicer than this. Let's kill that profile, and yeah, a little bit of difference here. So we do see a little bit of a little change with the profile on, but not significant. We changed that profile on, and it's you can just see right up over here, it's straightening up these lines at the corners a little bit. And once you do, same thing down here. Let's take a look down at the steps, a little bit of at the edge of the steps, and you're getting super straight lines. So great for architecture. I mean, you really, like I said, I couldn't ask for better than this. This is just really nice lens for the price point, and the price point is absolutely outstanding. And again, here's another just a slightly wider shot. Let's shut that off again, and that's profile on, and again, beautiful for architecture. And let's take a look at landscape. So here we are with landscape now. You know, let's take a look at this before and after. Just, you know, again, this is a testament, of course, to the Nikon RAW file that can just bring out incredible detail, but the lens has to also do its job to grab you that resolution and allow you to pull everything back. So let's take a look at the before. Let's just give the camera a second. All right, so that's our before image, and you can see there's really, you know, a backlit statue here that's basically hidden in the shadows, and with a little work in Lightroom, let's bring it back. We can pull all of that out, you know, in just a couple of minutes and have outstanding detail and really just a beautiful landscape shot. So is this lens great for landscape? Absolutely. I mean, look at that. Look what we can do. And again, of course, testament to Nikon for this, for producing absolutely beautiful RAW files, but to the credit of the lens as well. We're getting nice, straight, sharp lines. We're getting a lot of detail and a lot of resolution. So overall, fantastic. What about nighttime? Shot some fireworks. There's a little bit of a heavy crop on this because I was a little too far away with a 24 millimeter, but handled the fireworks beautifully. And one more on a landscape. Again, just a really nice shot that you can pull out of these RAW files. So, you know, again, having the RAW file is great, but if you don't have the resolution from the lens, you know, it's not going to help you much. And again, for architecture to get beautiful straight lines like this from a 24 millimeter lens is really all that you can ask for. And yes, do we need the profile? Yes, but the profile is there, and that's the great part about it. Like I said, Viltrox is putting in the work to get you these beautiful profiles for Camera Raw and Lightroom that are really going to make your edges absolutely perfect. Now, can you do this, of course, in other programs? Yes. Of course, if you had a different image editor that didn't have the benefit of the profile, of course, you're just going to have to do the work a little bit more manually, whereas in Adobe, you're just going to import these and the profile is automatically applied. And you can see right here, Viltrox 24 1.8 Z, right? So, you know, it's already applied for you. So fantastic lens, great price, especially after we see that August 1st price increase from Nikon. Should that 24 millimeter lens get affected, which I believe it will, because I believe that price increase coming up is going to be across the board. I think that just bridges the gap even further. And like I said, if you're looking for a great lens, this is it. All right, folks, so there you have it. That's my wrap up on that 24 millimeter Z lens. Again, $379, a fantastic price. I hope this video helps you out with making a great purchase decision. And of course, if it does, please do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Like this video. Of course, ring that bell to get notified of future updates. And if you have questions or comments, by all means, leave me a comment, because if you look through my channel, you'll see I answer most all of the comments as best I can. So please do me a favor and reach out and just say hello. I appreciate it. I say hi back to almost everybody that says hello. So, hey, thanks for watching, YouTube. Again, I appreciate you as always, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye, YouTube.